Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the VisionRoot video blog. I'm your host, Richard Urban, reporting to you from historic Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. I'd like to start this evening's episode or installment, which is on the Great Han Heresy, with two readings from the Bible. First, Hebrews chapter 10. Therefore, brothers and sisters, since we have confidence to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus, by a new and living way opened for us through the curtain, that is, his body, and since we have a great priest over the house of God, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and with the full assurance that faith brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience, and having our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold unswerving to the hope we profess, for he who promises is faithful. And also from 2 Kings chapter 8. Just as Gehazi was telling the king how Elisha had restored the dead to life, the woman whose son Elisha had brought back to life came to appeal to the king for her house and land. Gehazi said, "This is a woman, my lord the king, and this is her son whom Elisha restored to life." The king asked the woman about it, and she told him. Then he assigned an official to her case and said to him, "Give back everything that belonged to her, including all the income from her land from the day she left the country until now." Tonight I'd like to talk about the Great Han Heresy. So I'd like to talk, for those who don't know, Hak Ja Han is the former wife of Reverend Sun Myung Moon. And I say the former wife because since Reverend Sun Myung Moon died, since he ascended in September 2012, she's completely departed from what he had indicated she should do, uphold the tradition and scriptures, even from what a decent wife would do, honoring her husband's legacy. So I've talked about this a number of times in my previous videos. But now, Hak Ja Han, it turns out, we understand, was doing even more than what we knew about. For instance, on January 18th, 2012, she had a ceremony to marry some spirit that was supposedly God or some kind of spirit, but we know that that spirit wasn't God. It was some spirit other than God, i.e., a satanic spirit. And then Father Moon was extremely furious the next day on January 19th and rebuked her, told her that she was going her own way. She was a deboki or an evil spirit. So, if you're a unificationist and you ignore this, sorry to say, you're a fool, because this is extremely important, or you're completely ignorant of what's going on. So I urge you and beg you to look into what is going on. Basically, Hak Ja Han has taken the Family Federation completely away from its former path to be a completely non-Christian, heretical sect, cult, whatever you want to call it. So this is an incredible coup. And if you don't realize that this has happened, you certainly need to wake up. So apparently this was going on for some time. I've testified in my other videos that leaders like Dr. Chang-Shik Yang, and I would include Reverend Ki-Hoon Kim in that, had little or basically no interest. And like when I report to them, since I, have been living and working in Washington, D.C. about my absence ministry and work, the other ministry that Father founded for grocery delivery, they had zero interest in that, basically telling me they're fraudulent. Why wouldn't they be interested in the core things that Father Moon teaches? Well, and when you consider, I think the thing is that I was thinking all along, oh, everybody's, doing the things that Father Moon said, and they're valuing and cherishing his word, but not so. I mean, you talk about major church leaders. For instance, it turns out that Andrew Wilson apparently has been, or not apparently, is a member of the Mother God group that, uses spiritual mediums apparently to communicate with Mother God. At least that's what they think. I don't think they're communicating with Mother God. I think God is one person with a masculine, feminine nature, but a subjective masculine nature. Then you have people like Kim Mon Ho, who was the top advisor to Mrs. Moon, Hak Ja Han, and he was a member of the Amrine group secretly. And then you have Dr. Chang-Shik Yang, whose former secretary, interesting, he was living in Rockville, very near the Amrine group, and his former secretary was a member of that group. Gee, that's kind of interesting. I mean, if you're a top church leader, you hire a member of a group that, has its own teachings, apparently thinks, has its own doctrine about sexual relations within the group. And these are top leaders of a group. So apparently, a lot of these things were going on that were not at all centered on God. We're not centered on Jesus. We're not centered on teachings of Father Moon. So those who just don't understand that, maybe they think suddenly Mother Moon went off, or maybe they just don't even think about it. But I tell you assuredly that you're no longer a member of a Christian group, but some cult that believes in, I don't really know what they believe in. But I do know that Father Moon talked about Jesus Christ continually. And for instance, right now I'm studying, if you're getting my daily inspiration reading, which I invite you to do, go to VisionRoot.org and sign up there. You would understand that Father Moon was always talking about the ministry and work of Jesus Christ. And Mother Moon does not talk about that. She talked about repeatedly how she's the only begotten daughter of God. The 6,000 years of Christian history was really to welcome Mother Moon, a woman, as the second coming of Christ. Wait a minute. I thought she was married to Reverend Moon, the second coming of Christ. So now everybody's supposed to unite with the second coming of Christ, a woman. But I thought Christ was supposed to come and welcome his brides. So you're going to have brides uniting with the second coming of Christ. This makes no sense whatsoever. So, wow. I just have to say, I urge you to look into this if you were the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, that you have definitely veered far off of the way of principle, the way of God, the way of Jesus. So look at these things, see what's going on. If you're not looking, you're extremely foolish, because now it's been made very clear. Look into the sermons of Pastor Hyung Jin Moon. See what he's saying. I've gained great understanding through what he's saying, what he's doing. He's upholding the life and work of Jesus Christ. He's upholding the life and work of Reverend Sun Myung Moon, his father. His testimony is incredibly important. If you dismiss his testimony, you're a fool. Sorry to say that. He says, that Mother Hak Ja Han, former, Mother Moon, said she is God. She is the one who's God, and she'll decide what's going on after Father Moon's passing. So, and that he was, appointed and crowned and appointed by Father and Mother Moon 3 different times. People say, well, he has to be qualified. Baloney. Father Moon chose him. Who are you to decide he's going to be qualified? That is crazy. So, don't be foolish. Find out what's going on. Don't be part of the Great Han Heresy. Understand Father Moon's teaching about absolute good sex, and understand that that is what its core teaching is, about the importance and sanctity of the blessing of marriage. This is no longer the core teaching of the Unification movement. The scriptures have been severely changed. In fact, the divine principle wasn't even included as one of the scriptures in the Chanagu Constitution. I understand that perhaps has been changed now, but that's crazy. So, because the divine principle explains the Bible, so if you throw out the Bible, of course you can't have the divine principle. So please wake up to what's going on, look into it, do your own research, and I hope you benefited from this discussion tonight. I thank you for watching. Be blessed. Do sign up for the Daily Inspiration Ministry. One of the most important things Father Moon taught us is to study the Word every day. He called that Hundake. That's not the tradition of Mother Moon anymore, but it's my tradition, and I hope we make it yours. An easy way to do that is subscribe to Daily Inspiration at VisionRoot.org. So be blessed. Have a good evening. This is Richard Urban reporting from historic Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Good night.